Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us for this episode number 254 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast, part of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, a whole set of content, media, information, education, stuff that we do. We're going to get into it really quick in the intro about that. But thank you for joining us. This is going to be the regular Monday episode, a typical Monday episode, where I talk about different aspects of practice of immigration that I learned about or thought about this last week that I like to share to keep people posted. If you're really into immigration law, you like talking about this stuff, so it's interesting to hear. We're going to get into that. But before we start, is really, really important announcement. I'm fine-tuning the workshop, the in-person workshop conference, maybe in Los Angeles. Probably going to happen. I was like debating whether to do it in February and March, but then I'm like, H-1B cap season, so it's going to be a headache. People don't want to travel for that potentially. So maybe end of January. It's going to be first quarter of 2023. That's coming up. Going to be employment-based, help beginner more towards beginner to intermediate, get a hang of self-petitions, things that you don't need an employer to do. Their business cases, but you don't need an employer. It's the kind of thing I like to do because I hate the dual representation, the hassle of having two clients, the beneficiary and the petitioner. These are stuff, E2s, L1s that you own the business doing yourself, EB1A, NIW, that kind of stuff. We're getting together a really top-notch executive committee to get the best speakers, setting up the best location, great food, all that kind of stuff. Real good time on a Friday in the first quarter of 2023. So please, I still a draft. So if you're going right now, it doesn't look the best, but go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com and click on the workshop button on the option at the top, or just immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/workshop. And RSVP, so you get a head count. We have a bunch of people already come from all over the country. I was surprised how many people from the East Coast are have already told me they want to come. I was really happy about that. And so just do that there so we get a head count and get it going and set everything up. I think it's going to be a really good time. And so I'm really excited about it. This is just like a really happy thing that's happening in my life. And I hope you can share with me to do, bring people together, immigration lawyers together to learn and talk about stuff and then party too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely do that. Also, the new issue of the magazine is out. There's going to be a compendium, I think is the term maybe, but a magazine issue I'm going to publish. That's like an intro to the workshop. So like the workshop could be, instead of talking about basics, I don't want you to come to a basic workshop talking about you submit form I-129. It's like, duh, I don't want that. So probably going to do a magazine beforehand that complements that, like an intro, so that we will go into war stories during the time. The CLE portion of it, the recording, the actual sessions will be about really hardcore stuff that people have seen, the juicy stuff that you learn how to be a great immigration practitioner. We're getting all that together. If you want to see the current magazine and back issues even, go to Immigration Lawyers Toolbox/magazine, click on the magazine link if you just go to the basic website and check it out there. A lot of information in this issue, a lot of fun doing it. Definitely also support the sponsors who've been a sponsor of the podcast, the magazine, DACAwise.com, all-in-one form software, case management, office management software, and just growing. They're going to be a behemoth. Check them out at DACAwise.com and get extra 10% off their annual plan by going to DACAwise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast. Use the code Immigration Lawyers Podcast. Now, the toolbox is multifaceted. So there's the workshop, we have the magazine we talked about, there's this podcast, but there's two more things. We have a course, and we're going to be expanding course. I'll probably need to finally do the L1 course in preparation for the workshop, but there's a course on marriage-based immigration, which really is about admissibility, dealing with that 212 statute, the basics, dealing with consular processing, adjustment of status, 245. So it's really about other stuff, but it's the core of any immigration law firm case, which is the family marriage case in particular, which is how I've designed my firm and doing good living on it, teaching you how to do that. So we have a lot of lawyers that are new, get involved, want to learn the nuances of it, how the contract should look, all this kind of stuff. We have 12 hours of recordings plus regular office hours we do, so you can ask questions in a community style format, and also individual office hours are part of it too. It's called the Champions for Freedom program. If you want to learn that and get into it, just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com for the course. I should probably add a link to the course on the website. I've just been keeping it as an unofficial thing for a long time, but students love it, and you're going to really enjoy it. It's going to be a great system if you're trying to get into this field and become a great immigration practitioner in this field, do a living on it. And then finally, along with that, we've created a community page where you could talk with other lawyers and stuff like that. A lot of information. There's a free version and a premium version. The free version is out now. If you like, just email me and I'll add you to the group. Where I post a lot of content information. When I'm creating a course, I create snippets of it. I put in that group. And then there's a premium version that has like redacted documents and of how a country looks like, and other information and other tips and a library of information, all this kind of stuff. But you can just start with the free version, see if you like it. Just again, email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. I'll add links to that too on the website so people can learn about it, get an easier way to sign up for it. But a lot of is happening, a lot of information, education, and media is coming out, and as you've all seen. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Before you start, as always, this is not intended for individual legal guidance. This is for immigration practitioners. And things change, could be wrong, blah blah blah. And having said that, let's get it all started. All right, the first thing, from I-693, the medical was updated. Um, it's not the biggest deal. What's annoying is they update in August and they'll say we updated it in July. So, okay, whatever. But it doesn't go into effect till October. Just be mindful of that. Normally, I don't give my clients the forms to give to the doctor. But with more and more mess-ups and the doctor just messing up, I mean, clients potentially just print out or send a pre-made version of the form I-693, because I usually submit those after filing for adjustment, and have the client's name and A number, all that, so the doctor can't really mess it up, at least those portions of it. But be careful, you got to check this stuff, especially in October, because a lot of doctors will continue using the old form, and then that's going to lead to RFEs because it's the incorrect form. So be mindful of that. Now, speaking on that, actually, I wasn't intending to talk about this, but I saw a post by an immigration lawyer who said their client went ahead and submitted the medical checkup without getting an RFE. This was an EB case, an employment-based case. And, USCIS accepted it and approved the case, except that's the medical. So, I mean, that's doable. It happens. USCIS itself said don't do that. And I would err on the side of not doing that. And we had a colleague, I think it was Amy Maldonado, who said she knows how to create the barcode for a case, and she, in a post somewhere, explained how to do it. So when she submits something without an RFE notice, she creates the barcode, sends it so they can easily connect it with the page. The technology there is a little beyond me, and I'm too hesitant to do it, but that's an interesting thing they could potentially do. Now, the second thing is about the travel ban. So obviously, Biden came, the travel ban ended, but there was a lot of lawsuits that happened. One in particular, of a group of lawyers. One of them, Shabnam Lutfi, who's a viewer of the show, great attorney over in, I think she's in Ohio, I believe. Hope I'm not wrong there, along with a bunch of other people groups. So I want to give I would name all of them. Shabnam and Veronica Sussy at her firm, Eric Evans at Perkins Cole. There's a lot of people. It's going to be hard to read us and keep the podcast interesting. But essentially, a judge in I think in San Francisco, I think California, a district judge said there was problems with the travel ban. They never created a process that was proper for people to challenge it. A lot of people had their cases denied, and to reopen them, it's going to be a lot of cost and hassle. So essentially, ordering the government to reopen these and get it together, because there's going to be a lot of cost and hassle for people to redo it, do the medical because of the government's error, all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure the repercussions of what this case actually means, but if you have had cases that were affected by a travel ban, it's something to be mindful of that happened. I'm sure we'll get more information how it's going to plan out. It's called Emami, Emami, et al. V. Blinken, and it was a district court of the California. So that's interesting to be aware of if you deal with these kind of travel ban cases that did pop up. The next thing is the EOIR, the immigration court. Unfortunately, some scammer is spoofing their phone number and calling people. So essentially, they'll call people with a number that looks like it is the actual EOIR's office phone number. And so be careful if you get that call. They're gonna try to scam you out of money and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how to deal with that, how to tell the difference. But that just is something that's going on. Now, on another news, number 4, this is kind of like a nightmare situation for immigration lawyers. A colleague posted, this is a Florida case. They had a client with no, bad immigration history other than overstaying a visa, no criminal stuff or anything like that. And they said that they did a marriage adjustment case, went to the interview, and ICE was standing at the interview and picked up the applicant, the beneficiary, for overstay alone. And so they went to court, and the judge was shocked. He was like, "Why did you bring this person here? A huge waste of resources." General policy of DHS is not to enforce it against these kind of cases. But every couple of years, I'll get word that something like this has happened. I remember a colleague maybe 5 years ago here in LA, as a friend of mine. He had ICE come to his office because somehow they only listed that office location, saying they're coming to pick up the applicant. He was in an F1 student visa overstay, no removal order, no criminal history. And eventually, after a couple of hours of negotiating, they said, "Okay, we'll just let it go." But it's like when this stuff happens, it's kind of really scary because it's so rare, and so many of our clients in this situation. It's a typical thing to happen. So, you know, take that to, hopefully it didn't scare the hell out of you, or just take that there. You got to tell clients, I have it in my contract. When I say you are an authorized period to stay, and typically this isn't enforced against people that don't have criminal history, but it's possible they have full authority to do that. So it's something you have to be mindful for. Another note, this case popped up on my radar that I wasn't aware of. I think it's from a couple years ago, but it was a guy who had applied for, adjustment of status in the United States, was denied, and then applied again. While it was happening, he got advanced parole, left the United States, and the case facts aren't clear from the case, but I think they came to a pre-clearance station in Ireland, and there they revoked the advanced parole and they let him in, and they sued. And this was in Chicago, so it's the Seventh Circuit, and the judge said, you know what, even though AP was revoked, that reverts him back to the previous status, so he should be able to come and continue his case. It's kind of a wild decision because, as we all think, if your AP gets messed up, CBP has full authority and discretion not to let you in. But the judge said, no, you got to let this guy back in. So, if you're in the Sixth Circuit, Seventh Circuit in particular, use that to your benefit. If it does pop up, the person gets AP revoked, you try to get it in or sue to get him back in to finish up post processing in the United States. The alternative to constant processing is such a nightmare. Then again, the lawsuit itself will take a lot of time too, so I'm not sure which one's better. But just be mindful of this kind of stuff is there. Next thing is these embassies right now. So for birth certificates of the petitioner. Now, when I'm doing a case where the person that I'm dealing with is, a child, a U.S. citizen child applying for the parents, obviously I give a copy to the MBC of the petitioner's birth certificate because they want to see either the parent. I even tell them give the original at the interview because they want to, this is a major document there. And let me make a note. Actually, I have another case coming up. I forgot to tell them that give original petitioner birth certificate and put the client's name as a reminder. Okay, so that's been the case all the time. Makes sense. And it's in the instructions and all that kind of stuff if you go to MVC SIL documents. But I've been having cases in the last month where I had 4 interviews, and all 4 of them all of a sudden, 2 of them were spouses of U.S. citizen cases, and they asked for the petitioner's birth certificate. Major hassle, but we were able to get copies and upload. It wasn't too bad. And then I had 2 cases where it was a U.S. citizen applying for adult child that's single. One of them, they didn't ask for the birth certificate, same embassy, same time frame of submission. And the second one, after the interview, they said we need the original birth certificate of the petitioner, original. And I was like, dude, this is going to cause so much delay and hassle to send this back and forth, and it's going to get lost. It was really unexpected. I had, 14 years doing this with these particular kind of cases a lot, and at these particular embassies a lot, and getting this kind of stuff. It just throws me off. Makes clients get frustrated at me probably. But it's not listed anywhere. It's not, and how is it needed for that kind of case when we have the beneficiary's birth certificate, parents' marriage certificate, all that kind of stuff there? Really weird situation that popped up. Really annoying. Hopefully, it doesn't happen to you. Now, another note on practice, you got to be very careful on advising people. We either you give a free consultation or a paid consultation, but you got to try your best to cut off there. I do have a policy where I give in certain cases a free like 15-minute follow chat they could do, but I close it off after that. And I never get into answering how to fill out a form because you're not the preparer on the application. Unless you're going to sign as a preparer, you should not do it because the client does something wrong and you're on record helping them on some portions of the firm and not fully explaining it. If something wrong happens, you're on the hook for that. So I have to push back on clients, and sometimes it turns them off. But say, listen, you're getting into too much case legal advice. Either I'm the attorney on this and I'm doing myself or not, because there might be stuff they're not telling you, or you don't have the full picture, or you don't give the full explanation, or they don't do it right. But the blame is going to come back to you, and you got to be very careful and protective of yourself in these kind of situations. And the way this came up is, we had a person who we were helping, and then they kept asking specific questions, and we said, we can't answer how to fill out this form. You're going to have to hire us. And he got offended and wrote like in an email a bunch of negative stuff that you're all about money. You don't care about helping people. It's garbage like that. It's like, dude, we already spent like an hour extra helping you in general about what's going on and guiding you. It's very offensive. It gets annoying, but whatever, people do stuff like that, it's expected. But it's better to be safe than sorry. So try not to get yourself in that position. What we should have done in this case is cut it off sooner, because by helping continuously on general ideas, they got the expectation that this is just some kind of free service, like it's a charity, and they can keep asking for more. And some people just have a psychology aspect where they just take and take without any respect. So it is what it is, but just don't get yourself caught up in that situation. Now, number 9, our colleague McClawson, what's the first name is Greg, I think. Greg McLaughlin over in Washington State. He's big on these lawsuits on I-864s, and he posted that he helped get the biggest judgment award ever for an I-864 attorney fees, $254,000 in attorney fees. I'm not sure how the hell that happened, but it's just things like people should not get involved with I-864 litigation. If you're the FA Sports sponsor, take the hit. Don't do this. You're not going to win at the end of the day. If especially if the I-864 petitioner sponsor lawyer wants to milk it and do all this fighting, they're going to lose and cost them a lot of money. So 254,000 in case the Burkhalter v. Burkhalter and CD California August 22th California case. Crazy litigation. But thanks for sharing that, Greg. Congrats, I guess, on that. But it's just like 254,000. There's no way how much they would end up spending on the I-64 was going to add up to that. So really stupid when people try to fight it. A lot of the times personal because it's a lot of times it's a marriage case, a family case. They start hating the spouse, and this kind of stuff gets ugly. That was number 8. Number 9, I-508. Just a reminder, if you have a client who's here on an A visa, G visa, an E visa, and they adjust status, you got to submit Form I-508. I deal a lot with clients who I have clients who come to me where they see videos I've done on this, and they say, my lawyer said we don't need to do I-508. They never heard of the I-508. They never submitted this and that. That's incorrect. You have to submit the I-508 waiver of privileges, blah, blah, blah. Because officers might not know about it, they might approve the case, but later on NATs, like, oh, you didn't file a waiver, they could, undo it all. So just be mindful as I-508 exists. It's important to submit with an E2 visa. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is a case just popped up this morning. Russian denied resident status over cannabis-related work. This person got asylum and then filed for adjustment of status based on having asylum. And then they started working part-time for an unlicensed Los Angeles cannabis collective, Wonderland Caregivers, where his only job was to set up and maintain a surveillance system. He never grew or sold cannabis, according to the court record. But they still got him for involved in drug trafficking because he was part of that organization, and the consequences of that. So be very careful. If a client has any association with these companies, it's going to be a major disaster, and it's going to be considered part of drug possession, drug trafficking. It's still a crime federally. So people be mindful of this. Don't file the NATS case. Don't file the adjustment status case. The person has this because you're sending them to the wolves because that job is bad. Now you might hear people that say, "Oh, I've done this and improved." Maybe they didn't catch it, but it just doesn't make sense until they change the laws. It's considered aiding and abetting a criminal organization under federal law is drug trafficking. So the person is out of luck. They shouldn't be filing these kind of cases. They should know better. And that's that. So thanks so much. Definitely contact me, RSVP, about the Los Angeles workshop. Feel free to come from all across the country. If you have questions about it, email me. About it, the RSVP page has a frequently asked question page, but it's still rough draft, so fine tune it. But feel free to email me if you have questions. I love to see you all in person, talk with you. I love the community. So it's just a joy to have everyone come in person after, especially after COVID and everything like that. But really setting up this stuff and make it a success so we can do it in different cities, San Francisco, Miami, New York, and Denver. Just move around the country, do these small, intimate workshops where you get down to business, how to be a great immigration attorney, make a lot of money, and help a lot of people. That's my goal, and to help promote the people who are speakers too. Trying to find speakers who are really great immigration lawyers, a lot of them, but don't get as much attention, and not the repeat people that come on the traditional panels at other conferences. We really want to, support a whole next batch of immigration lawyers to make stars out of them, because they are stars, and just let their shine come out. So email me, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Visit the Toolbox webpage to get the information about the magazine, podcast information there too. You already hear, listen to it, but also the workshop. And I'm probably going to put soon the Champions Freedom Training Program link there, as well as the other thing I said. What was the other thing I was wanting to do? The community page. So we'll get that up and running for immigration lawyers, so you can be the best immigration lawyer you can be. Until next one, have a good one. God bless. Be safe. Bye-bye.